Hello, my subjects, and welcome back to my channel. Ignore my hair, I just finished showering. Anywho, not the point. So, I thought it's time I talked about a subject that I should have talked about a while ago, but I chose not to because then I would have given away way too many things. A subject that most people hate to talk about, especially if you're a part of a certain community. Power scaling. Now, I'm not here to power scale my characters. I'm here to tell you how power scaling works in my world, in my own little fictional world I like to call the creator world, so to speak. The imaginary world. So let's start, shall we? First of all, to understand how people work in my little world, you gotta understand that there's 4 titles a person can have. These 4 titles are the only titles in existence. No one gets a title above that or below that. First title is the weakest title of them all, being the commoner / mortal. These are normal human civilians. They have no powers. They are usually caught in the crossfire. No normal human civilian can gain superpowers. However, there are a couple exceptions to this, of course, such as Solomon, David, Moses, and any other people from the Bible, since they do exist in this world. Well, they obviously existed in the past, but, in this world they also existed. They were known as nothing more than mortal civilians, and then they gained superpowers, so to speak. That's what the word is. Any being that uses, for an example, someone like Jesus Christ has superpowers. That's not what they technically are, that's what they are called. You'll hear a lot of people call powers superpowers. The next title within the second weakest title is the hero / villain. That's the title given to people with superpowers. Mr. K, Anthony, Horror, Foxy, Crowmaster, Prophet, even mortals and civilians can become superheroes, or they are villains. But they usually never do unless they have the help of an object. The only times where a normal mortal has become a hero with superpowers is usually out of divine intervention. While there are heroes without superpowers, those are rare and far between. This is a world where superpowers exist a lot. You are either born with a superpower, or you are given one through a magical artifact or deal. Such as Crowmaster, he gains his powers from the crystal ball. However, his powers were obtained by making a deal with his friends on the other side. The God Killer gains his powers from the sword, which, by the way, anyone who wields the sword, mortal or not, can gain the powers of the God Killer. So if a god were to get a hold of that sword, it'd make them a lot more stronger, basically. Anyone can wield the God Killer sword. You don't need to be worthy. There are no Thor rules with the God Killer sword. Anyone can wield it, good or bad. Next title is Demigod. Demigods are usually known as half god, half humans. A lot of people in this category would be Hercules, Anthony. He's technically more of demigod strength rather than a demigod. He is not born of a god family lineage, and he does not have godly blood in him. While there is a chance that if 2 mortals do get together and have a child, there's a very small chance that their child becomes a god or a lineage of god. It's a very small chance. Anthony is more of his power is akin to a demigod, but not necessarily. He's not necessarily a demigod in blood, more in title. There are other demigods as well, such as Well, I'm not going to reveal who. And then there's people with the title of God. The title of God is given to the most powerful beings to ever exist, such as Zeus, Aphrodite, even magic wielders such as Merlin the Wise, or there are other characters. For example, Solar does in fact have the title of God. However, he did not last long. There are no titles above it. There are no titles below it. There's no title after that. For example, someone like John is more powerful than your common god. The fact that the god killer was able to kill multiple pantheons of gods, multiple gods, without fail, and he struggled with one, which was John, by the way, should tell you that he is not no normal god. He is more powerful than a god, which is why he says he's beyond titles when talking to the prophet. Sorry, I've been talking a lot. Which is why he says he's beyond titles when he's talking to the prophet. There is no title above God. Therefore, the most powerful anyone can be is God. God level power. There are beings, however, that are more powerful than any common god, but their title is still God because, well, there is no title above that. Now, however, when John was talking about titles, you do realize he does call out one title that I did not talk about here. The title of tutorial. The title tutorial belongs to one being and one being only. That is John. He's the only one with said title. He is the only one that can have said title. The reason why is because of what he is based off of. He is based off of the game mechanic tutorial. He is the concept of a tutorial brought to life. That is what he was originally. Now he's grown as a character to the point where his past title doesn't resemble who he is as a person, nor does it do much. The title tutorial is also a title that invokes a lot of power, so to speak. What? The title of tutorial means that he taught a lot of people how to use their powers, how to do a lot of things. Think of, like, for an example, the tutorial level in Cuphead, Batmite in Lego Batman 3. What else? Tails in one of the Sonic games where he's like, go, if you go up a ramp, you go up a ramp, you know? Or like any other tutorial you've ever played in video games. That is John, which is why he's so inconsistent and why he's so all over the place. It's because he is not a person, he is a thing. Which is why he says the words, I choose to resemble a human. He is not human. Not the point. There is also this thing called aura. Aura works a lot. It works very weirdly in terms of character. Aura is anything a being can have. Only certain beings can see aura, however. For example, John can see it, but Anthony can't. Aura is basically how strong a character is. It's this field of different colors, by the way. It can be whatever color the person likes. For example, John's aura is blue. Crowmaster's is green and purple. A lot of purple with some like green hues and swirls here and there. Anthony's more in like lighter orange, while the Prophet is a darker shade of orange. Not the point. Everyone has them, even mortals. What aura does is basically it tells your opponent how strong you truly are. Now, you can, in fact, dim it. You can dim aura. You can even fully get rid of it. However, it takes a lot of concentration and power, which a lot of people don't do because, for one, why would they? All that does is maybe get their opponent to, underestimate them. And they're not, why would they care if their opponent underestimates them or not? The only person who has been recorded to be able to do this constantly is John. There's a couple reasons for that. One of the many reasons for that is John is my Deus Machina. He is my world ender. He is my apocalypse. He is my Da Vinci. Which I'll go into later detail on why he's that specifically when I'm done with Aura. Aura has more of a video game mechanic where basically, like, the bigger aura you have, the more scared your opponent will be. However, that's where another thing comes in called fear. Fear brings in adrenaline. What adrenaline does is basically it makes a character a lot more faster, a lot more stronger, a lot more agile. Because, a lot more durable as well. Because, people tend to do a lot of stuff when they have a lot of, adrenaline. The reason why John chooses to dim his aura is because his aura is strong enough to scare anyone away. And I mean anyone. Even the God Killer himself, which, by the way, he is a very, not a coward kind of guy, Even someone like the Prophet, who is very angry all the time, too angry and too blindsided by rage, would be scared to see what the man in blue was truly capable of. You see, the way John works is he's supposed to be my most powerful character out of every character I've ever made. See, I've always had an idea as a kid to make the most powerful character in fiction. So, I made John. But I needed to make John in a way where he made sense, where he was able to be written in a way where not every conflict was resolved by him. So I made him a lot more unhinged. I made him so that he likes to play with his food. Notice how in Season 6, Episode 4, John is standing there, looking down, starts to smile and clap. John was never truly under the Prophet's control, which, by the way, should be a big feat in it of itself, because the Prophet was able to control almost anyone, and there's a reason for that. So, the reason why the Prophet is so unique is he has this power called plot manipulation. You know how a character is able to, come back from the dead in comics out of nowhere? That's what he can do. You know how sometimes in comics, someone like Batman could pull up something straight out of there and be like, I win, Like, it's kind of like plot armor, except a lot more worse. He can control the plot, he can control the script, and write it however he sees fit. He can change a lot. Not everything, obviously. First of all, he can't kill the creator. Second of all, he can't fully control John, obviously. He can't control the narrative too much. He can change the narrative. He just can't fully control it. While he is powerful, there is a limit to what he can and cannot do. But what he can do, however, makes him a big threat in any other situation where John is not involved. Which brings me on to the next thing. John tends to depower himself a lot. Mostly because he tends to... So any big feat that he completes or makes are just... feats don't matter here, alright? The fact that... For an example, John was able to survive a strike from the God Killer But yet he actively chose, not right now, but like in the future, he will be hit by a lot less weaker opponents and, act like he's hurt. Like he gets hit, he's like, oh, you're strong, like with obviously sarcasm involved with him, like pretending like he's actually hurt, right? So any feat that John pulls off is a big feat, but not necessarily what you should pay attention to, right? Again, how power scaling works in my world is basically John works in a way where he makes sense, where he can fit in a world. The tough part about writing a character like John is making it make sense. Writing someone who's omnipotent, someone who knows everything. A fourth wall breaker, by the way. He's a full-on fourth wall breaker. Season 7 will go on into like showing us how much of a fourth wall breaker he is. He can interact with the real world. He did that a couple days ago. Again, season 6, episode 3. Not episode 3, episode 4. Where he's basically like answering for me. You could see, right? John basically had Prophet up against the corner. Then I was called. And then John was like, I void. But like he was cut off, right? And then he comes back. And he's like, are we keeping that in? And then he continues on. Again, John is my most favorite character, right? Because he is a lot... The way I make him, the way I write him is... I try to make a character that's basically difficult to fight. Because you never truly know whether he's going all out or whether he's just pretending. And that's the best part about him. Is the fact that he likes to play with food. He likes to take his time, so to say. And season 7 will only, again, as the seasons go on, the agenda will be pushed more and more and more to the point where you understand that at no point does any villain truly have the upper hand. The reason why I didn't want to reveal this before season 6 is because I didn't want season 6 to lose its luster. All of season 6 was supposed to make you think that John, the impenetrable, the undefeated wall, was finally broken, was finally defeated. When he was deleted, that he was finally gone. Only for you to realize that John can never be truly rid of, no matter what anyone does. You see, that's why John is my most favorite OC. I know people tend to make their most powerful characters themselves, but I think it's a lot more funner making an original character that isn't a self-insert the most powerful character. And again, he's the only one of its kind. He's fought strong opponents, yes. However, none truly are as strong as him. So, whenever you see the man in blue next, remember the fear. Be scared of what he truly has planned next. After all, he knew of Prophet long before he started his plan. He knew what was going to happen. And he chose to let it happen. Which, by the way, no one died by technicality. While John did, in fact, kill people, he killed clones. To be fair, though, those clones are scary accurate to the true power levels of certain characters. But again, that's for next time. Fun with season 7. After episode 5 of season 6. Aftermath. Season 7 will start. And man, do I have some things in store for y'all for this series next. For now, have fun in Wonderland. Have a happy on birthday. Goodbye, my subjects. Have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, and or night. Peace. And while you're at it, make yourself some popcorn. Take a seat. Turn off the lights. Because this is just the start of the show. I'll see you all next time, where we meet a very new friend.